I'm not going to let an algorithm that's made in some server room in the US determine how happy I'm going to be on a daily basis.
Welcome to the show, Luca. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I know that you were in finance before going creative, so what made you decide to switch things up?
I hated it. I didn't enjoy working in finance. It was not for me whatsoever. So I did that straight out of school. I didn't go to university. I just left school and went straight into finance. First down in London, then up in the north of England. But I just did not enjoy it. Didn't feel like me. And I was always interested in movies, actors, all of that kind of stuff. So that's why I then decided to... It was in lockdown that I decided to give it a go after I saw a podcast talking about it. And so I gave it a go. And fortunately, in lockdown, and I think it was like my 5th video started to go viral. So from there on in, I was just like constantly compound posting over and over and over.
Was there a moment when you just knew you had to do something more creative?
Not really like a specific moment that I can think of. It was just like I was exploring it. I was thinking, oh, this is really fun. I got into photography actually because I watched YouTubers. I really liked YouTubers like Peter McKinnon. And I watched them and I thought these guys are really cool. I love what they do. And so that's what got me to buy a camera, pick up a camera and start learning photography, was just watching his videos. So that's initially what got me into it. And then I just got good at it and continued to post. Like pretty much every day. It was like almost every day by the time it was like 2020. 2018 was less so. I was like in digital art as well. So I was doing a lot of digital art. Followed a dude called Visuals of Julius. I learned from him and Peter McKinnon, and I'd just make these like wild Photoshop artworks. And that was kind of like my first into the creative stuff. But then I just really got into video.
So, like you know, this podcast is all about decisions. So, I'm really curious to hear what pivotal decisions have really shaped your journey.
What's shaped my journey? Gosh, so many decisions do that, don't they? I'd say the decision one, to post content online. So that's one thing. You know, if I didn't do that, what would I be doing? I don't know. My decision to take my health seriously as well, because I never used to do that. So take my health seriously so I could like focus better and I could perform better. That was a big decision of mine. I think moving to London was a massive one. So moving to London, I just met loads of people straight away. Got just straight away thrown in the deep end, started working with loads of other creative people, and that was really, really helpful. That actually helped me launch my first business, like shooting with other companies. So it just me being in London by osmosis of being in the area, it was just like, oh, I met these people who were looking for this and that, and then eventually, you know, we were working together. So that was how I was able to make my income when I first moved down here, because I didn't have a job.
Wow, there is so much to unpack here. I'd love to start by hearing more about the decision to focus on a healthier lifestyle. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. So I call it Pure Living Crew. I I go to bed really early. I wake up really early. I don't eat sugar of any kind, even honey or maple. I don't eat flour, regardless if it's chickpea, rice flour, oat flour. I don't care. I don't eat it. So I don't eat flour of any kind. And yeah, I train a lot of the gym, and it's been one of the best things that I ever did. Oh, and I don't drink alcohol either. So none of those things. I just eat whole natural foods and sleep really well. So that's been my my health thing.
Oh, wow, that sounds amazing. So, was there a moment when you knew that you had to make this change, or was it more gradual over time?
Oh yeah, no, there was a moment. It was in January 2020 in lockdown. I was like, I don't want to keep being the way that I am, because I used to be really unhealthy. I used to be overweight. I used to not like feel very good all the time. I used to like crash with energy during the day. So yeah, it was a decision back in 2020, January 2020, when I was like, nope, and I haven't had any since. So I've not had any sugar, flour, or anything for the last almost 6 years.
I'd love to hear more about that moment. Was there something that really triggered you to make that decision?
Yeah, so my brother actually was the reason. My brother had recently done the same thing, and he came home because he lived in London at the time. I was still living up north with a family, and he came home and he was just completely different. He was like super healthy, athletic, really calm, chill, nice to be around. And me and him always we used to be quite wild when we were younger. So it was a difference, and I saw the difference in him, and he told me what he'd been doing, and so I did it as well.
But that's so cool that he was able to inspire you like that. When you decided to make that change, did you have a concrete goal in mind, or was it more about changing your daily life?
No, it was just about changing daily life. It was about change. I knew that change would happen long term, but I didn't want to set a goal or anything with it because it's not like a. I don't follow it like a diet. It's not. I follow it like, oh, I'm going to do this to get here. I just live like that. That's how I live. I'm like that every day, regardless of whether I'm here, abroad, traveling, whatever. I always just eat like that. I don't compromise on it. So it's not. Yeah, it didn't have a goal in mind necessarily. Just a healthy weight range would be that, and yeah, I don't change it.
Wow, I mean, that sounds so good, but I can imagine that it's not always easy. Were there moments when you weren't sure you could stick with it? And how did you get through those?
So it actually is. I think it is easy. It genuinely is fine. Like I don't have issues with it. Really, it's just. I mean, there might be issues like where it's like slightly more of a thing that I should be eating or whatever it is. But I think that once you commit to just stick to that, then it's fine. Like you've made the decision. Don't go back on it. That's just how I viewed it.
I really love that. So I've cut down on drinking quite a bit over the past few years as well. And what really bugs me is how it's just treated as the default. So basically, if you're not drinking, you're the one having to explain yourself. And it feels a bit backwards, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It does, but I mean, I'm just so used to it now. I just say I don't drink. That's all. Sometimes I tell them I'm allergic to it, and that's an easy way to get out of it. I do
That's
the
a good
same with
answer.
sugar and flour as well. I just say I'm allergic.
Yeah, but it's the same with sugar. Like loads of stuff is full of it, even things you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, I mean, again, with it, I check the ingredients of everything to make sure I don't have anything. Or I just cook. I cook all the time, so I'm fine with that. And then if I'm eating out again, I just tell them I'm allergic.
I know I'm exactly the same. I'm always the person at the supermarket checking all the ingredients lists, and it takes forever. It's so annoying.
Yeah, it's crazy what they put sugar in. They put sugar on chicken in the supermarket.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's yeah, weird.
Yeah, it's wild. But it's so cool hearing how you made those big changes and, deciding is one thing, but actually living it day to day is another. And I'm really curious about, the little things that made it work for you. So what kind of daily habits help you stick with it and, build this kind of new path?
I think deciding to do it is doing it on a daily basis. Otherwise, the decision hasn't been made. It's like I heard someone make a really good comparison of that. It's like when you decide to book a flight, all the other options of flights are off the table. You've booked your flight. Like that's it. You've gone with it. You're going. So it's the same thing. It's like once I've decided to do it, once I decided that I've done it, I'm going to do it, then it's just a case of I do it on a daily basis. What kind of habits help me with that? Um, it's just a resounding kind of like again like a lifestyle change. I don't do that. I don't have that anymore. So I don't do those things anymore. I don't eat those things anymore. So or I act this way now. It's different.
But you just make it sound so easy. But there's so many people who make that promise at the start of every year and completely fail. So how do you manage to make it sound so easy?
Well, I think I was so sick of how it was that I became willing to make the change. I think that's the difference. I think when you make a New Year's resolution, it's usually something that's kind of light and you're not really that bothered about giving up or changing. Because I think if you really do want to change it, you do.
So now looking back, how has this journey changed the way you see yourself?
Made me a lot happier, that was for sure. A lot happier and a lot more peaceful with things. Because I mean, yeah, it just made it clear that if you just want to make the decision to change something, then you can.
And it must be a massive boost for self-confidence as well when you realize that you can just make the decision and really stick with it.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I don't think of it as like self-confidence on a daily basis. I don't think of it in that way whatsoever. I literally just think of it like as there was an old way of life, and that's no longer a way of life. It's just a new way of life. It's not like a self-confidence kind of thing. But I guess by proxy, it kind of ties in because around the time that I stopped all of that, is when I started making videos. So I was definitely more confident on camera. And I was definitely having more fun on camera because I was happy to be on there. You know, I was preferring the way that I looked and stuff, and I felt more energized, and I had, it was a much better way.
Yeah, it's so interesting that that's when you started making videos. And I'll come back to that in a bit because there's a lot to unpack there. But first, I wanted to go back to what you said earlier about moving to London. So, can you tell me more about that?
Sure. Yeah. No, I moved down here in September 2021. It was super spontaneous. I was speaking with a really good friend of mine who lived in London at the time. He now doesn't live here anymore, but a really close friend of mine still. And we were talking about it, and I was saying, I think I should probably like move down to London. And he was like, obviously, you should move down to London. So he said, look, move in with me for 4 months. Because I was going to move in with my brother, who lived here at the time as well. He's now in America as well. So they've all left London. And so I was going to move in with my brother, but his current housemate at the time wasn't ready to move out. So this friend who lived in Shoreditch, he was like, move in with me for 4 months, see what you think of it. And he gave me a killer deal, like a mate's rates for a room in his apartment. And yeah, I moved down. I moved to Shoreditch. And so it was really spontaneous. Um, Parents obviously were happy but also sad that I was leaving the family home. And yeah, one of my best mates at the time, because I was too young to hire a van to drive all my stuff down to London. I was too young, so one of my best mates, he was old enough to rent the van, so he came with me, rented the van, we packed it up, and we drove down to London. Yeah, and that was that. We drove down to London. He dropped me off. I thought he was going to stay the night. He just set off and went back home. The absolute crazy. It was mental. He'd like just done 5.5 hours down, and he was like, I've got to get back for work in the morning. I was like, what? I was like, are you kidding? So he drove through the night. He got home like, gosh, it must have been like 4 or 5 a.m. that he got home or something, and then just got up at work at 6 the next day. Yeah, what a legend. So he shout out to my best mate Rafa. He he drove me down, and then I moved in with my friend Fred in Shoreditch, and yeah, that was that. I just got then through friends in London, got introduced to another person, to another person. I was still making content. I was getting better at making content, and they like just by one thing to another, like a business. Another friend of a friend who owned a business. He said, "Oh, we really need content. Would you be down to help us out?" And so I got my first like retainer client, did a good job for them. He then told two other friends of his who own businesses in London. They're like, this guy's really good. So I got two more. And before you knew it, it was doing great. Like, it was a really great business. Like, it was doing really, really well. It was making a lot of money for the time. And that was like my first business in London, was shooting content for these other people.
That's amazing. So, how much do you think London has influenced your career? And how much does location play a role in everything you do?
Tons. I think location plays an enormous role. I don't think hardly any of the stuff that's happened would have happened if I didn't move to London. Just through the people I've met, the networks I've been able to get into, or like, be amongst, creators that I can collab with, just location. I don't think a lot of the things would have happened. I think it's definitely the best thing that I would say is to jump in at the deep end and move to a massive city, move to a major city, whichever country you're in, just move to the major city. Because you'll meet way more people, you'll collaborate, you'll advance way quicker. If I was still in the north, if I was still in Yorkshire, I love Yorkshire, but if I was still there, I would be nowhere near doing the same things, like, just at all.
I can totally relate. And it's so inspiring being around so many talented people all the time. I mean,
Mm.
obviously, smaller cities have talent too. but maybe I don't know, people just hustle more in the bigger cities.
I just think it's a nicer, well, not nice is the wrong word. I just think it's a better environment to be in if you're going to be, say, entrepreneurial with stuff. I think it's a better environment to be in. I mean, London is a world city, so it's got everything, and it's in a massive city, so it's like what, like 10 million people or something. So it's got a huge economy, and there's millions of people. You're bound to one, learn a ton of stuff, be exposed to way more, meet way more people, and it'll further you ahead. And there is that whole thing that yes, you have to do better financially to be able to stay in the city. There is that, there is that element of it. I think that's less of a thing, though. I think more so just being in the kind of ecosystem of the city is way more beneficial than staying in the wilderness.
Yeah, but maybe there is something to it that the whole financial pressure makes you somehow work harder, don't you think?
I guess there is an element to that, but I really don't like that element to things. Like, it's like, oh, force yourself in this situation where you have to work harder so you make more money. Because I think there's so much more to this than just making a load of money. But it's definitely a factor, I'd say. It's definitely a factor. It puts you in a thing. But I don't know, like, I think you can easily find a way. Live with like 5 other mates, you'd be fine. Like, if that's like the thing, just live with 5 other friends. It'd be great fun.
So also you've made some big life changes in the past few years, like moving across the world to Bali. So what made you decide to move there?
That was a disaster. I wasn't thinking straight. So everything I just said about how great it is to move to a big city and not be in the wilderness, I decided to go back on that and move to the wilderness. And it was a disaster. I mean, looking back on it, I'm very glad that it happened because it needed to happen to reshape my perspective of things. But I was in a bit of a rut creatively, and I couldn't really like think straight, think my way out of it. And my best attempt at coming up with a solution was to move across to the other side of the world, where I knew 2 people, 2 great people, by the way, like two of my closest friends. But my whole family is in the West. All my friends, apart from these 2, are in the West. It was like, I was very disconnected. I was completely on like an opposite time zone to everyone that I knew before. My management and all of that kind of stuff, they're all still in London. All the events that I go to and all of that kind of stuff, all still here. It was like, I just wasn't thinking right. And it wasn't a good move. And it didn't last very long.
So what was it about moving to Bali that made it such a disaster?
I wasn't in a great place to do it. I wasn't in a good mental space to do it. It's quite a toll on you, is moving across the world, I think, like moving your whole life. And I wasn't in the best place anyway moving, so when I got there, I thought it was going to be the thing that would have fixed things, but it never was, because one of my favorite sayings is wherever you go, you take yourself with you. So I got there and I was like, oh no, this is not it. Yeah, some people like the place. It wasn't for me.
That's so true that we always take ourselves with us. And you also shared that you went through a period of burnout during that time. Would you be up for talking about that?
Yeah, sure. I completely burnt out with stuff because I was making content about something that I was no longer really that interested in, chasing after kind of like more views, more engagement and stuff like that, but I'd lost interest in things. And then because I lost interest, it didn't do as well. So it was like, well, now neither of the things is winning. And then I was just in this brain fog where I was like traveling, tons of jet lag, because I did a 2-month tour of America as well. So I was doing America, I did California, and then I did Middle America, and then I went right the way to East Coast as well. So I was doing completely different time zones. I was barely sleeping. I was going from event to event, state to state, filming every day, editing every day. And I was just like super tired. And then when I got to Bali after that, another more jet lag, more filming, more all of that stuff. And then I got there and there was just a few disasters when we got there. Like we had an earthquake on the first night and the apartment started to cave in. That wasn't great. And because apartments aren't meant to cave in. And then it was just not that great. We kept getting sick and just, yeah, it was a mess. And so at the end of all that, I was just super burnt out. And I couldn't come up with ideas creatively. I couldn't come up with anything that felt any good or felt like I wanted to create. I didn't feel inspired. So then I moved back over to the UK and took time off.
That sounds really tough. And thanks so much for being so open about it. I'm sure a lot of people can relate. So, what did you do to get back on track aside from moving back to London?
I spoke a lot with mentors of mine. I embraced a lot of spiritual stuff. So that was probably the main thing. And I guess I let go of the attachment to the whole thing. I was super attached to the whole rat race of working out algorithms, making offers, products, all of this kind of stuff. All of that kind of stuff, and I lost kind of the enjoyment of making things creatively. And so now it's kind of been like a stripping that back and finding the creative spark again and enjoying those things.
Maybe the silver lining with burnout is that it forces you to pause and really question everything. And not just, what we're doing, but why we're doing it in the first place.
Yeah, I think pain is a touchstone. So I think, in those things, it's just, I think it's part of it. I think probably, I think, unfortunately, it's just the way it has to go. It has to happen for a lot of people. I mean, I don't know exactly, but like, and I can't speak for everyone else, but everyone whose life stories I've really admired talk about this phase of going through a phase like that, regardless whether it's an entrepreneur, whether it's an actor, whether it's a filmmaker, whoever it is, an athlete or whatever. They've all had these moments, these phases, in whatever it is. And I think in those phases, it's a large learning period. And then you come out a completely different person than when you went in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure you know Sinek, who always talks about starting with why. So I'm curious, what was your why? The deeper reason behind starting to make videos in the first place.
What was my why? I don't know. I just I let the inspiration come through. I like Naval's quote on this. Do you know Naval? He's an entrepreneur. He's an American entrepreneur. He's fantastic. He's mainly on. He goes on a lot of podcasts. Like he goes on like Joe Rogan, Chris Williams, and all of that kind of stuff. But my favorite quote of his is, "Your best work your best work comes through you, not from you." And I really like that because when I'm not consuming content all the time or thinking about like algorithms and numbers and I'm actually just like detached from it, then I get a natural inspiration to create things. And that natural inspiration is far more original and creative than it would be if I was going on a social media platform and thinking, how can I imitate this kind of success that I see someone else doing or this kind of video? And I get natural inspiration and create something that I would never have made before and is actually more original. How it does is not really up to me. I mean, I can just put it out there and see. Yeah, so I prefer it that way. So I don't know. I don't think I've got like a why, like this big why. I just think it's what I'm super interested in. It seems to be always like calling me. It seems to always be gnawing at me to make videos, to make these things, to be creative. It's like, well, I think about like 95% of the time. So clearly there's something going on, but I don't think it's like, I just think, yeah, that inspiration comes to me. I just think I'm just the one who's receiving it and then get to do it. But I think that's the case with everyone. Like whatever all your work has just come from inspiration that you've had and then you've made that work. It's like, that's what would make you unique and stand out. Yeah, I think that's the way.
Yeah, and you've grown such a massive following on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. So, what tips would you share with creators who want to do the same but feel kind of overwhelmed by all the platforms and trends and everything?
Yeah, so I mean, first thing would be practically. If you feel overwhelmed by platforms, just stick to one platform. Just do one. Do one of them at a time. Don't worry about doing them all until you've absolutely nailed one and you're in a financial position where you can hire people to help you out. So I would just do one. Whichever one you pick is down to your skill set. So if you're really into long form storytelling and you want to do YouTube, go do YouTube. If you like short, punchy stuff or images, then do Instagram. Or if you're an amazing writer, you can do Twitter and you can do Substack and all of that kind of stuff. So there's all these different ways of doing it. What I would say is find a way to come at your sector in a unique way that's to you. So not just like going on there and seeing, what others are doing and then imitating that straight away. It's okay to take the inspiration, take the format, but bring yourself to it. So how can you deliver it in a unique way where it's clearly you, and then build a brand around that? And don't feel pigeonholed to just talking about one thing. Talk about what you want. It's way more interesting to learn from a human or watch a human than just a tutorial monkey or a news, just saying the same thing. Like it's way more interesting to hear about all sorts of different ways. One of my favorite creators, and I think kind of a fantastic example of this, just to kind of like put it in an example, is someone like Wisdom Kane. Do you follow Wisdom Kane? He's a fashion creator, but he does the most wild edits, like insane edits. I think his Instagram is just WSDM. But he does these amazing edits, super cinematic and incredible transitions to show off his outfits with music and titles and all of that kind of stuff. So he makes it really cinematic. Now, he's a fashion creator and he could just come and wear the thing and then change the next thing to the next thing. But instead, he makes these like unique one-of-one artworks, these videos, these pieces of art, which not only shows his fashion, but his editing skills, his filmmaking skills, and all of that stuff. So he's delivering fashion content in a completely unique way that someone else isn't doing, that's unique to him. And then he can go away and he'll just think of his next idea and it won't be copied. It can't be copied. It can be, people can imitate it, whatever. It's, but like when you watch him, Wisdom Kane video. So I think it's like whatever your content is going to be, whatever you want to talk about, whatever sector, think of how you can distinguish it to be your kind of content. That's something that I'm really trying to work on now, is making my stuff more like, no, what would I actually make if I wasn't just like trying to hyper optimize this video for social media? Like, because I'm just not bothered about that anymore. I'm really actually just bored of that. I would rather now think of how can I make this more like what I would want to create. What excites me when I'm thinking about making it? What do I think? And I'm like, oh yeah, that'll be really fun or funny or whatever it is. And how can I deliver it uniquely? So I hope I'm not waffling, but like you're delivering a similar message or similar format or whatever, but in a completely unique way.
That makes so much sense. And I really love how in one of your videos you talk about leaning into what makes you weird. So could you tell me a bit more about that?
I think it's more interesting. It's more interesting when someone's really weird. Like weird in a good way. But like weird in terms of like, I don't know, people are just like all sorts of scared of like AI stuff coming around, but like when you just see someone who's like such a unique personality, or like they stand out so well, and I'm like, that's way more interesting when someone's got all these weird quirks or things that they bring to the video, they bring to the content, which you think, yeah, only they would come up with that. Only they would have thought that way, or only they would say it that way. And then if someone else says it that way, it's very clear that they're trying to do the thing that this person's doing. So I think leaning into what makes you weird is just your natural personality to things. And people who are starting out when they're doing this as well, you might think, oh, I'm like feeling like shy on camera or whatever it is like that. This comes in so much time. Like if you watch my first videos back in 2020, I sound and look like a different person completely, and I was really in a shell. And I wasn't confident whatsoever on camera or in my speaking, so I sound completely different. So this comes with time. It's just a process of letting that unfold in public. So just know that in the beginning, it's going to take you a while. And to stick with this for the long game. And that would be another piece of advice that I would say to someone is don't think about the next 3 weeks, think about the next 3 years or 5 years or whatever it is. Think of it in how you want to go about that and how it's going to evolve, where it could go.
That's so helpful to hear. So, how long do you think it took you to come out of your shell and feel more natural in front of the camera?
2022. So bang in 2022, I moved in with my brother. Like I can literally remember one day just having it. So the way that I used to go about making content, which still works for a lot of people, is batching it. So I'd script 7 videos, then I'd batch film content all in one day. So I'd script, shoot, and edit in across 2 days, 7 videos. And I can just remember like how I used to do it. I was like okay on camera. I wasn't bad on camera. Like it was okay. And then eventually in 2022, I was living with my brother at the time. It was so much fun. And one day when I was filming, I just thought, I'm just going to send it. I'm just going to like, whatever, I'm going to say things weirdly or however I want to say them. I'm just going to like put way more energy into it. And I just felt it like come through me. And then all of a sudden from there, it was like a change. But like, that was just like a breakthrough of me constantly making content. Because before that, I was really reserved, like, oh, whatever it was. And then all of a sudden, I was able to just go, oh, bang. And then it came through. And then it just goes even more from there. Like, yeah, now I don't give a damn. I'm like, do whatever. So I think, yeah, 2022 was when it happened.
What's one mistake you see new creators making when they're trying to grow their audience?
I don't think anything in terms of output, because even if a creator's going through a stage where they're trying to imitate people and copying people, I think that's fine. I think that can be part of the process as well. So it doesn't, it's like, I just look at it as like they're just earlier on in the process. I think the only mistake they can make is stopping, giving up.
Yeah, that's so true. And consistency is the hardest part, isn't it?
I think it is when you don't have a system around it. For a long time, I had a really good system around it, and I was able to just make 10 videos in a day.
That's a
And
lot.
yeah, it's a ton. Because I had a repeatable format. So I had a format of videos that I was able to make, and I could just churn them out and they would do amazingly well. Like they would constantly be going viral, they'd constantly be doing well, and I had a repeatable format that I could go and go and go. And that worked for ages. And then naturally, when things evolve and things change and things stop working, people don't want to watch the exact same thing over and over. It changes, and that's fine. That's part of it. And then I have to well, I don't have to, but I change and I evolve and my work changes as well. So if they can find some kind of repeatable format or formats, like whether it's 1 to 3, I would do that. And I would create content in the areas of those formats and just repeat them if you find something that does well.
How were you able to build a system that made all your videos go viral? I mean, it's not an easy thing to do, is it?
Trial and error. So in the beginning, it wasn't daily, and I was just making stuff. And then when I found out what works, fortunately for me, was very early. It was like five videos in. I found what worked because I just took what was working for someone else on YouTube in a long form video, and then I would make it into a 30-second version of it. So I'd take something like Peter McKinnon talking about how you use a camera, and then I would be like, okay, I'm going to do a 30-second version of that video. So everything he says just 30 seconds, and then it went super viral. So how did I find it from there? So I did that, and then eventually when I was able to, because my business of making content with other people was making money, I was able to hire an editor. And so I worked with an editor from there, and then that's how I was then just be able to like seamlessly do output. But I was still doing it before that as well. It just took me more time. Whereas now when I got an editor, it was a case of me just shooting the content, sending it off to him, and he was editing it. So that, but that I don't want anyone to hear that and think that they need an editor to make it work, because you don't. Right now, I don't have an editor. I'm back to doing my stuff because I want more connection to my work, and I want it to be just exactly like what I envision. And I'm having way more fun with that. Now, that's not the case with everyone. Sometimes an editor, and they want to keep it as an editor, then do that. It works as well. You can do either. But finding a system with it is just being able to find that repeatable format, whatever that is, or formats, and then making sure you script a lot of content through the week, and then at the weekend just film them.
So trial and error, basically.
Yeah, because when I found what worked, when I found the videos that I could make that I knew that worked, I'd found a format that worked for me that was quick to do. I mean, my first videos that were going viral, I was talking into the bottom of my phone, and it was just looking at a keyboard. Like, it wasn't even filming me. It was just a voiceover with some pictures. When you find whatever format works for you, just keep on making them.
So what do you think is the key factor in making good videos? Is it personality or something, technical? If you had to pick just one thing, what would it be?
Oof, it's impossible to pick. I think it's impossible to pick one because I think it's a combination of all of them. It's like, is it something technical? Well, in some grounds, yes, it can be, because if we can't hear what you're saying and if we can't see anything or whatever on the screen, then it's just not going to work. But then, videos that are low quality go viral as well. So it's not true. I think it's a combining factor of all these things. I think it's the personality, the look and feel, how it's put together, and the message that you're putting across as well. So how you package your message and what you're saying, whether that's a tutorial, whether it's inspirational, whether it's a story, whatever it is how it's packaged. But it can't be one defining factor. It's the unity of all of them working together.
So looking back, what's one thing you wish you'd known when you first started creating content?
Not to get emotionally attached to views and followers.
And how do you do that?
How do I get attached, or how do I get unattached?
Unattached.
Unattached, I just look at it like, I'm not going to let an algorithm that's made in some server room in the US determine how happy I'm going to be on a daily basis. And this is why I much prefer now, I completely disconnect from social media unless I'm going on there to post. I very rarely go on there to scroll. I don't really go on there to scroll. And I'm actually working on a YouTube video right now talking about this. I find I'm way happier if I don't go on there to do that. I go on there to post, and then I'm not constantly consuming tons of content, so I allow natural inspiration to come to me, and then I make different, more unique content, which I enjoy more, and I'm happier doing it because I'm not on social media all the time. So I just understand this thing's it's run by an algorithm. If it wants to, it can change like that, and I can't outsource how I feel to that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I guess it all comes down to having good habits again. So you're in a good headspace and not stressing about the algorithm or likes.
Yeah, I don't think about it at all. Well, rarely. My newest one has actually been, I like watching a YouTube video and seeing how they do, but it's a different kind of energy. Like, when I make a YouTube video and I post a YouTube video, it's such a packaged kind of, I've put so much into it and I love it so much that I just do not care. I do not care how it does, really. And so I find it interesting. It's just data. Just look at it as data. If you want to play the game with it, you can. You can play the game of algorithms, and you can go after the viral stuff, and you can go after that kind of thing. You can do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. And there are times where that is maybe necessary if you want to make it a business. But I really do think if you focus on creating incredible stuff, if you create incredible work, it becomes undeniable that it'll be seen and it will work on a platform. You've just got to find the format and what platform it's going to work on. But if you become so good at something that it's undeniable, I think the score will take care of itself. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I actually love that. You just have to focus on making good content.
Just focus on becoming amazing at whatever it is you do. Like amazing, regardless. Like it doesn't matter if it's bird watching, do it. Like you could be literally anything, just make sure it's amazing.
So I know you use AI a lot and you even built your own Ada AI. So how does AI help you with your workflow nowadays?
How does it work me right now? I use it as a sounding board. I chat to it, but it's in a way that it's careful because you got to remember AI agrees with you on everything. So you have to phrase it in a way where, like, don't just send it and be like, "Is this good?" And it'll be like, "It's great, Luca. Like, this is phenomenal." And then I'll go and film it, and I'll be like, "This is crap." And then I go back and I'm like, "Why did you tell me it was good?" And it'll be like, yeah, it really isn't. So, and I'm like, what the hell? So I think using it as a sounding board, if you have a specific storytelling framework that you wanna use, like there's tactics to things, like I use them. I use things like the act structure, hero's journey, if I'm making certain things, especially writing. I'm doing some movie writing right now. So there are different formats and things to use. And you can soundboard with it, like, is this working within the 3-act structure? What are the weaknesses here that you can highlight, or where would maybe need strengthening? And you can use it that way. But you could use it as an efficiency thing as well. Like if you need to find certain things, if you need to quickly process things. I don't use it in a term of like, it writes my content. It doesn't write my content. I like writing content. I find it enjoyable. When I'm in the flow of just writing something, it's really fun. But what AI can be used for is helping maybe find more clarity. So if I'm stuck on something of like, I'm struggling to kind of like figure out what necessarily like my brand identity is, or whatever it is. Like I can talk with it and say I'm confused because I'm thinking this and this, and that conflicts with that, and it's helped me in the past come to a resounding like kind of clarity with things. But that's just me talking to it. I don't, and I'd like stress this to people: don't just outsource everything to AI, because if you outsource everything to AI, then you're not going to get any better at the thing. You'll just outsource it. Ada, the one that I created, was an idea generation AI, and it worked super well. It went crazy viral as well. Like it was nuts. It was like 50,000 ongoing conversations at one
Oh,
point.
wow. That's
On it.
insane.
It was like really nuts how wild it went. I mean, people were making videos about Ada in different languages and stuff.
Really?
I was seeing tons of stuff that was being tagged. But I've also made her like a character in my videos as well. So there's that. Like I make the joke that I get the full powered Ada, whereas people just get the GPT input of Ada. Yeah, that's good. And then what else? I've used image and video generation for. I made a short movie, 2-minute long movie, on Midjourney called Dare to Dream. So I made that fully using AI because I wanted to see what it was capable of. But again, it's like I didn't just go on to Midjourney or a platform and say, make me a 2-minute movie, back, gone, done. And I sent it away and it's done it. It was, I found the track and everything like that. And I was thinking, what kind of story do I want to tell here? And it was about kids' imagination coming to life in real time. So I was like, how can I show that? And I was storyboarding it. I was sketching out the scenes. I was like thinking, what I wanted to do. And then I generated all these scenes as images, and then animated them as video through Midjourney, and then edited it all together. And then I even I did a voiceover on it, and I de-aged my voice to be a little kid's voice using AI as well, because I wanted to use AI in all aspects of it. So, and that short did really well on Instagram. I had so much fun making it. I still absolutely love it when I watch it back. I think it's really beautiful. And that was made in AI with the help of AI, but it wasn't like just spawned from AI, if that makes sense. It's like it's using it as a tool. If you use it as a tool and use it really well, you can get incredible stuff from it.
That makes so much sense because it's so easy nowadays to just outsource all your thinking to ChatGPT, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it does no favors. It does no favors. If you outsource everything to it, then it's like, I don't know, it won't be good. It will not be good. I noticed that when I outsource a lot of stuff like that, and I watch a lot of short form content, my level of focus is shocking. My attention levels are shocking, and I forget all sorts of things all the time. So I just turn useless.
But so what would you say to creatives who worry AI might take their jobs?
I would say it's going to change the sector a lot. I think it will replace some jobs, that's for sure. But this happens all the time um, with new technologies. Like we had Industrial Revolution changed loads of jobs or got rid of loads of jobs. What I would say is fear not, because there has never been a time in human history where a resoundingly or revolutionary new technology has equaled less jobs. It's only ever equaled more jobs. So I wouldn't worry about that. I would have faith that things will be fine. Like what I mean by that is every time there's been like a big technological advancement, more jobs have appeared. Like in one, industrial revolution, two, the internet. Like you and I doing this right now we never would have foresaw that if we were old enough and alive and talking in the 1980s, and we were saying, I wonder if in 30 odd years we could stream through space and talk to one another in. Are you in London?
Yes, I
Yeah,
am.
you're in London. You're in London. Yeah, so whatever, being and talk to each other, but staying in our apartments. We'd have never have conceived of that ever. So I think jobs will appear, or new things will appear that we can't conceive of right now. We just can't conceive of it. We don't know what it's going to look like until it happens. So I wouldn't worry. I think things will always evolve, and you'll be fine. Everyone will be fine, hopefully. So, what else was I going to say there as well? I don't subscribe to the whole fear of like people are like, you got to know every AI, otherwise you're going to be behind, and I'm just like, you'll be fine. You figure it out.
That's such a good point of view because I just went to Nicer Tuesdays last week and someone there said that many creatives are in full on panic mode at the moment. So it's definitely nice to hear another perspective.
Yeah. Again, I think it's going to be a tool. It's going to use stuff. I think AI content. I don't know. With like, I hear like people like Gary Vee say there's going to be AI influencers that we're all gonna like, we're gonna love their life. I don't know. I can't envision that. I don't see that. Like, I can't see myself following someone, and then if I found out that, this whole person, their whole life, their whole thing is all AI, that it's all just generated, that I'd be that into it. I don't know. I'm not going to say never because I just don't know. I don't know on that front. And I just think it's going to be a cool tool to be able to do things. I think it's going to allow much more one-person businesses. But also, what becomes interesting is creators have a unique, or if you're a creative or whatever you are, whatever you do, you've got a unique point of view. You've got a unique worldview which influences your work and what you say, and that's what's interesting, and that's what makes you stand out. What isn't that like? It's more about the content. It's not about the form. So if like, for example, I'm making photography tutorials, anyone can make a photography tutorial and say the same thing. But if it's done in a certain way and delivered in a certain style that's uniquely me or uniquely someone else, then it's uniquely them. It's not what it's about, it's them uniquely delivering it. I hope I'm not butchering that, but I know what it means in my mind. So hopefully anyone listening can decipher what it means, but I'm probably just waffling.
Yeah, but I love how we're going back to leaning into what makes you weird.
Yeah, yeah. Because AI doesn't have a point of view. AI doesn't have a point of view. It's got every single bit of internet it can, but it doesn't. It's not like It's not had your particular life journey. Because like the reason that you see things or think the way you think and talk the way you talk is because of all the inputs of life when you've been growing up. So if you grew like I have a completely different worldview growing up in the north of England than someone who, I don't know, grew up in Mexico City or in Oslo or in something like that, or in somewhere in Africa or Russia. Like it's going to be completely different, and because of how we all grew up, we all see things a certain way, and we can deliver it in a unique way because of that. That's a point of view. Um, I like what Dan Coe says on AI. He takes the quote of like everyone's going to build their own app or everyone's going to have their own AI universe or AI creator, and he replies with, "People don't even cook their own meals. Let's just slow down." So yeah, I much more prefer to side on the side of optimism about things than I do about the panic and the fear about it, because
Yeah, I love that.
I mean, like, even if I did worry and panic and fear, I'm not going to stop anything. OpenAI is Sam Altman is not going to wake up tomorrow and going to go, you know what? Actually, let's just pause all of this and delete it. It's not going to happen. So I'm just not going to be. I'm going to be more optimistic. What if it's great? Like, what if it is actually amazing? Like, I'm sure these fears might have happened around things like, new technologies before, but like, what if it's just really good?
I really love that optimistic point of view.
Yeah, I like to remind myself that I am not a very good predictor of the future. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm not going to try and predict it, and I'm not going to worry.
So we've talked so much about decisions and habits and how we have grown, but I'm really curious, what does success actually mean to you and what makes life feel meaningful?
Oh, what does this success mean? I think success means just been like, I have I have stability in things, and I really enjoy what I do. I really enjoy it, and I'm at peace with it. I'm happy with it. I wake up every day absolutely full of beans, ready to go. Um, I love my life. It's great. I've got great friends, got family, all of that kind of stuff. That's really awesome. But yeah, I think that's the success stuff of things. And that is what makes life meaningful. All of that, all of those things. Yeah, it's good relationships. I enjoy things, and yeah, I've got stability. Like obviously, there's like a general stability to reach with things, but I get to do what I really enjoy doing full time. So I'm super blessed in that regard. I really enjoy it, and I think that I think that content or making content, the internet, social media, has brought a massive barrier reduction for the creative sector. So a lot more creatives can do this full time, should I say.
Yeah, 100%. And before we finish, what's one big takeaway you'd love listeners to walk away with?
Go make a load of cool stuff. Just yeah, go make a load of cool. Go make the things that you're feeling afraid or to make. As in like the big swings, like content that's out there, uh, and yeah, search for why, just search for what really fascinates you, because it could be anything. Like I watch so much content of like historians getting all niche into stuff. I've been watching tons of art history recently, and like people who really break down artworks or scenarios in history, and um, you can just go so deep on anything, and grow an audience from it and make it your full-time thing. It can be anything, like it really can be, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, where's the best place for people to find out more about you and your work?
So Instagram is currently my main platform, which is just at Luca Peterson. But YouTube, I vow to make my main platform hopefully within the next year-ish. Maybe even a bit longer because it's a slow burn. But yeah, when I post on there consistently, I see a lot of success. I've been more into I've been more focused on short form, whereas I think now in this current evolution of things, I'm much more interested in long form and making much more longer pieces of work. So YouTube is just Luca J. Peterson as well.
Perfect. I will add all those in the show notes. Thanks so much, Luca, for coming on and sharing your story today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.